Everyone said I was paranoid about Bill visiting when my husband wasn't home, until I caught him on camera, confessing his love and trying to kiss me while I held my baby. So, my husband Terry and I have been hitched for 3 years, and we've got this adorable little 6-month-old girl named Maria. Now here's where it gets a bit odd. Terry's younger brother Ryan, who's 26, has been dropping by our house nearly every other day for the last couple of months. But he only seems to show up when Terry's out working. Terry's in construction, so he leaves super early, around 6 a.m., and doesn't get back until about 5:30 p.m. And that's usually when the Ryan visits start happening. Ryan texts me around 7 a.m. asking if I need help with anything, or if I want some company while Terry's away. Initially, I thought it was sweet of him to want to help out his brother's wife, but now I'm starting to wonder if there's more to it. He always brings over fancy coffees and hangs out on the couch, chatting about random stuff like how dull his insurance job is, or how he wishes he had what Terry and I have. He often makes comments about how lucky Terry is to have me, calling me a great mom and wife. Last week, he even brought me flowers because he thought I looked tired and needed cheering up. I told Terry about it, and he just laughed it off, saying Ryan's always been thoughtful. The weird part is how Ryan acts differently when Terry's around. When Terry's home, Ryan barely talks to me. They're either watching TV together or tinkering with Terry's truck in the garage. But when it's just me and Maria, Ryan's super chatty and always finding ways to be close. Like when I'm cooking, he'll be right behind me, checking out what I'm making. Or, if I'm folding laundry, he'll offer to help, and our hands end up touching over the same shirt. A couple of weeks back, Maria was having a meltdown, crying non-stop. I was frazzled, and Ryan offered to hold her so I could take a shower. I was so worn out that I agreed, but I couldn't relax while I was in there. When I came out, Ryan was in the nursery holding Maria and singing to her. He looked up and commented on how I looked beautiful with wet hair, saying Terry was the luckiest guy alive. It made me uncomfortable, so I took Maria back and made up an excuse about needing to feed her. Yesterday was the kicker. Ryan showed up at 8 a.m. with pastries, saying he took the day off to help me, even though I insisted I didn't need it. He was everywhere I went, making comments while I was changing Maria's diaper, like how great I am with her and how natural I look as a mom. It was just too much. Then he asked if he could snap a picture of me and Maria because we looked so peaceful and happy. I said no, but he kept pushing until I raised my voice to make him back off. He got all sulky and eventually left around noon, but not before saying he was just trying to be a good brother and didn't get why I was being cold. When Terry got home, I tried explaining what happened, but he just brushed it off, saying Ryan was probably lonely since he split with his girlfriend 6 months ago. Terry thinks I should be grateful to have Ryan around, helping out. He even said lots of wives would love having such a supportive brother-in-law. I felt like I was losing my mind because Terry wasn't getting my point. This morning, Ryan texted again, wanting to come over, and I finally told him to knock it off when Terry isn't home. Ryan flipped out, saying I was being ridiculous and paranoid, and that I was wrecking his relationship with his brother. He accused me of being hormonal and imagining things, insisting Terry would be upset when he found out I was driving a wedge between them. After hanging up, he must have called Terry because, soon, I got a call at home asking what was going on. Terry said I had hurt Ryan's feelings and told me to apologize and smooth things over. Then Terry's mom started calling, having heard from Ryan about how I've been treating him. She wants to know why I'm being harsh when he's just trying to be a good uncle. I haven't picked up because I'm unsure what to say. Everyone's acting like I'm the bad guy here, but I trust my gut that something's off with Ryan. So am I out of line for telling Ryan to quit visiting when Terry's not home? Or am I justified in feeling uneasy about his constant drop-ins and strange behavior? Update. It's been a week since I told Ryan to stop visiting, and things have spiraled with Terry's family. Terry came home already fuming because Ryan had called him multiple times during lunch, crying about how I was mean to him for no reason. Apparently, Terry's whole crew overheard, and now they're asking what's wrong with me that I won't let Ryan see his niece. Terry sat me down, demanding to know why I think Ryan's behavior is such a big deal when from his view, Ryan's just being friendly. I tried to explain the odd comments and his habit of popping by only when Terry's not around, but so I've been feeling uneasy about how things are at work, especially around Ryan. But every time I tried to share that with Terry, he'd just butt in, saying it's nothing, and I'm overreacting. Carrie chimed in too, saying Ryan's just socially awkward and struggles talking to women. She insists he's harmless, and since he's family, I should cut him some slack. Turns out, Ryan's been having a rough time. His girlfriend dumped him for being too needy, and now he's all lonely and sad. Carrie says I'm making him feel like an outsider in his own brother's house. Then Terry threw a real curveball, suggesting maybe I'm just paranoid because I'm a new mom and dealing with Maria's care. I was fuming. I insisted I wasn't losing my mind, and my feelings about Ryan are legit, but Terry just gave me that "you're being irrational" look. The next day, Terry's mom, Susan, called, and she was in full lecture mode. She said Ryan's sensitive and has been struggling, so I should quit pushing him away. She went on about how Ryan cried at her place because he thinks I hate him, and she demanded I apologize. Susan even hinted that because my family lives far and I'm an only child, I don't get how close families work, and insisted that I'm on my way to ruining Terry's bond with his brother. I tried to explain to her that I just want to set some boundaries at home, but she wasn't having it. She accused me of being dramatic and suggested Ryan's just being nice. Later, Terry's dad called. He was calmer but echoed the same stuff. Said I should talk to Ryan directly instead of shutting him out. Meanwhile, Terry has totally sided with his family and thinks I'm stirring up unnecessary drama. He said if I don't patch things up with Ryan, he'll start inviting him over regardless of how I feel. Now, Ryan's texting me all the time, wanting to come over to see Maria and putting on this caring family act. He keeps saying sorry if he made me uncomfortable, but he doesn't even know what he did wrong. Honestly, I feel isolated because it seems like everyone's against me. Terry's barely talking to me except to tell me to apologize, and his family acts like I'm the villain here. I just sense something's off with Ryan, but it's like no one will listen. They all just think I'm paranoid. Then something bad happened that totally validated my gut feeling. After being pressured so much, I finally agreed to let Ryan come over because I was tired of fighting everyone. He came by with coffee and muffins, and at first everything seemed fine. He was keeping a respectful distance and making normal small talk. Maria was napping, and I was folding laundry, thinking maybe I overreacted before. But then Maria woke up, and as soon as I brought her into the room, Ryan's vibe changed. He got that look that makes me uneasy, started going on about how beautiful Maria is, how lucky Terry is, and how he wishes he had what we do. My anxiety went through the roof again. I was just standing by the window trying to calm Maria down, and Ryan came over, making me feel uneasy all over again. So, Ryan tried to step in and help calm Maria down, but I told him I was on it. Then he got all close and touched Maria's cheek, and his hand brushed mine. Instead of stepping back, he stayed there, way too close. Ryan started going on about how good I smell and how Terry doesn't appreciate me like he should. He said I deserve someone who notices all the little things and appreciates me properly. I told Ryan to back off and give me space, but he kept chatting, saying he's always thought I was amazing and wished things were different. When I tried to move away, he gently grabbed my arm and said he needed to spill something important, something he'd been holding back for months. Ryan confessed he knows it's wrong, but he can't help how he feels about me and that he dreams he was the one coming home to Yisho every night instead of Terry. I told him he had to leave because what he was saying was way out of line. Ryan insisted that I feel something for him too because of how I look at him sometimes, and claimed he could tell I'm not truly happy because Terry doesn't pay enough attention to me. I was clutching Maria tighter as I tried to get to the door, but Ryan wouldn't budge and kept saying he needed me to hear him out. He kept going on about how he's loved me since Terry first brought me home, and he often wonders what might have happened if he'd met me first. Things started getting scary as Ryan got more emotional. I realized I needed to record what was happening just in case. I started recording on my phone, and Ryan continued to pour out his feelings, envisioning a happy life together if I gave him a chance. He went on about how Terry takes me for granted, saying he'd worship me and be a better father to Maria. Then Ryan dropped the bomb that he'd been coming over when Terry was at work to spend alone time with me and see if I felt the same about him. That's why he'd bring coffee, flowers, and help around the house. He thought I was warming up to him, and maybe I saw him as more than just Terry's brother. I told Ryan again he had to leave and that I'd call the police or tell Terry. Ryan, however, said he wasn't done, that he needed me to know how he felt before losing his nerve. It was terrifying being trapped against the wall with Maria in my arms. He confessed he'd thought about kissing me for ages and then tried to make a move. I pushed him away and told him I'd call the police if he didn't leave immediately. That snapped him out of it. He started apologizing, saying he didn't mean to scare me, and claimed he'd never hurt Maria or me. He begged me not to tell Terry, promising it'd never happen again. After Ryan left, I locked up, sat on the floor in Maria's nursery, and cried because it was all so overwhelming. I kept thinking how much worse it could have been. I have everything recorded on my phone, solid proof of what Ryan said and tried to do, but I'm scared to show it to Terry, fearing he might somehow blame me. I haven't told Terry yet because he's been so tired from work. I'm dreading how it will affect his relationship with his family, especially if they think I'm lying. In the end, I finally told Terry everything and showed him the recording. I was so relieved he believed me and saw Ryan for who he really is. I waited until Saturday when Terry was off work and Maria was napping so we could talk without interruptions. I sat Terry down and told him I had something serious to show him. He knew right away it was something major. I started by reminding him how uncomfortable Ryan's behavior made me and how his family kept dismissing my concerns. So here's the lowdown. Terry was being super paranoid and unreasonable when I tried to explain everything to him. He tried to shut me down, saying we didn't need to go over it again, but I insisted that he had to hear me out before he chimed in. I went on to explain that Ryan had dropped by last Thursday, and something happened that proved my suspicions about his odd feelings towards me were spot on. Terry's face turned serious, and he asked what Ryan did. I pulled out my phone, telling Terry I'd recorded the whole thing because I knew he wouldn't believe me otherwise. I played the recording right from the start. It opened with Ryan professing his feelings, saying stuff like, he's always loved me, wished he met me first, and how he thinks about me all the time. Terry turned white as a ghost, and his hands started shaking when the recording reached the part where Ryan mentioned coming over to spend time with me alone, hoping I felt the same way. Terry shot up from his chair and started pacing around the kitchen, clearly getting angrier by the second. The most jaw-dropping moment was when Ryan's voice came on, talking about dreaming of kissing me, and then you hear me telling him to back off, but Ryan responding with a pleading, "Please, just once." At this point, Terry lost it and punched the wall, putting a hole in the drywall, and yelled that he was going to kill his brother for crossing such a line. Terry was livid and couldn't believe Ryan behaved this way. He felt sick thinking about all the times he'd defended him, dismissing my concerns as being overly dramatic when Ryan was planning this behind our backs. Terry apologized for not listening to me and for making me feel like I was overreacting. Then right there, he called Ryan. When Ryan picked up, Terry started yelling, calling Ryan out for what he did, branding him a disgusting pervert and saying he never wanted to see him again. Ryan tried to interrupt with excuses, but Terry wasn't having it. He kept shouting that Ryan was dead to him and dared him to come near me or Maria ever again. He made it clear he had heard all of it on the recording, leaving no room for Ryan to wiggle out of what he did. Ryan seemed confused about the recording, but Terry flat out told him that he destroyed their relationship forever and hung up, chucking his phone in frustration. Once he calmed down a bit, Terry hugged me, repeatedly apologizing for not believing me sooner, and for letting Ryan's harassment go unchallenged. He felt awful that I had been made to feel uneasy in our own home. Terry asked if Ryan had ever acted inappropriately before when I had no proof. I recounted all the times Ryan stood too close or made questionable comments, and how he'd always find ways to touch my hand or hover around me in the kitchen. Terry got mad all over again, realizing how blind he'd been. Then Terry's mom Susan called. He picked up and immediately told her everything, saying Ryan was out of their lives for good. I could hear her getting upset, trying to defend Ryan, claiming there must be a mix-up. But Terry told her about the proof, and that Ryan admitted everything. Susan cried, pleading with Terry not to cut Ryan off, suggesting he needed help. However, Terry was firm, stating Ryan chose his path and that protecting me and Maria was non-negotiable. Terry warned that if Susan or anyone else tried to defend Ryan or contact us about forgiving him, they'd be cut off too, because he wasn't going to let anyone make me feel unsafe again. Susan tried to argue, but Terry hung up and shut off his phone to prevent further calls. Over the weekend, Terry's dad and sister Emily tried reaching out, but he ignored them, saying he didn't want to hear from them unless they were going to apologize to me for not believing me and for siding with Ryan. Terry expressed embarrassment over how his family had treated me, promising to ensure everyone knew what Ryan did so they couldn't downplay it or make me feel like I was in the wrong. Yesterday, Terry changed all the locks and set up a security camera by the front door, just in case Ryan tried to show up when Terry wasn't home. He even asked our neighbor to call the cops if Ryan appeared near our place. Terry was adamant about not taking any risks with my or Maria's safety. Ryan lost any right to be part of our family when he crossed such a serious line. I'm relieved Terry is finally on the same page, believing me and prioritizing me and Maria over keeping the peace with his family. Terry keeps apologizing for not catching on sooner and for letting Ryan's behavior slide, but I've reassured him that what matters is he believes me now and is protecting us. We haven't heard a peep from Ryan since Terry confronted him, and Terry has promised to call the police and file for a restraining order if Ryan tries to reach out or show up here. Overall, it feels like a huge weight lifted now that Terry understands what really went down, and I don't have to pretend Ryan's behavior was normal or that I was overthinking his actions anymore. I'm still processing it all and planning to talk to someone about it besides sharing on Reddit.